Hello, and welcome to another episode of the shit show, which is my life. Thank you for joining me once again. Um, as you'll see, I'm in a different area today. I'm in my bedroom currently, due to decorating or redecorating the house. This is kind of one of the three bedrooms are the least catastrophic. So, and I can't use the kitchen because the dishwasher is on. So I don't want that noise interference. So we're in my room today. Um, as I said in the last video, I have more or less wrapped up my timeline and experiences in my early life, and until I left the country with the woman who birthed me. But I thought now would be a good time to just quickly, share this. I find it funny story. I just want to say also, like, when I spoke about my ex viewing my profile and stalking me, I suppose, the reason I find it funny is or giggle or laugh or smirk at certain situations. It's not because I'm sadistic. It's because I've healed, and I can talk about something without the emotional baggage like weighing me down or holding me back or affecting me in that way. So if I laugh or smirk, or it's because I've moved on. I look back now and it's like a big comedy show, really. I can see my own life that way because like I said, I've healed from it. I've moved on. So that's why I giggle or laugh or smirk, or there's no other reason. They say if you can talk about something and smile about it, or then you've healed from it. So that's that. So for a bit of context, when one of my kids got to the age where they could have a mobile phone, I sat them down, I had a talk with them. I'd cover online safety, flag questions they should be aware of. Like if someone asks their personal information or name, address, things like that. I'd also tell them that when it comes to like their own family or extended family, friends from school, I would not interfere in who they spoke with, who they decided to communicate with. That's completely up to them. Even now, it still is completely up to them. Because I was having ongoing conflicts with ex's parents and the woman who birthed me, I didn't want my views, my opinions of those people and my situations with them to influence my children in their decisions. So that's why I left. If you want to communicate with them, communicate with them. If you don't want to communicate with them, you don't have to communicate with them. I'm not going to force you to do it. That was basically, what happened. For example, yes, I did check their online safety. I'd open the WhatsApp and I'd go through the list of chats to make sure there was no unknown numbers or numbers I didn't recognize. And if there was, I'd open that chat and see what was being said, as a safety precaution. But if it was like grandma this or grandpa that or uncle this, uncle that, I'd never open the chat and read what was said. So, yeah, I didn't invade their privacy, and they made the decision who they wanted to talk to. So yeah, this took place in around February this year. Now remember, I'd cut contact completely once and for all in September, October last year. So in February this year, the woman who birthed me was talking to my oldest via WhatsApp messages, and my oldest came to me one afternoon and showed me a part of a chat between him and the woman who birthed me. The particular message from the woman who birthed me read, "How is your mom? I'm so worried, but all I can do is pray." Now, I'm going to elaborate quickly on this. My child is aware of the situation between the woman who birthed me and myself. He knows I've cut contact for good and a need to know of why, because I am educating my children on narcissism. As a parent, I feel that is my duty. I can't help it that 3 of the people in their lives are narcissists. That's, but now I know about narcissism. I feel I have to educate them on it too. So, when I first cut contact in last year, the woman who birthed me was blocked on my WhatsApp. Since I had to, like I said in my last video, when I had to delete all my existing social media and redo everything from scratch, she never followed me on any of my current social media accounts, only on WhatsApp. That alone should say a lot. So since I recovered from the breakdown, I don't know if it's just because I've changed as a person, or if, I can't explain it, but I don't like blocking people. In the past, I would have just blocked her ass, like, permanently. That would have been it. She'd have to contact me via email. Now I don't like blocking people. So anyway. So around December last year, I unblocked her on WhatsApp. Don't get me wrong, there are, especially on my Instagram, there are people who are blocked because it's, I don't know them. They even phone me. It's constant text messages. It's harassing. So they are blocked. But anyway. So my WhatsApp is open to her, is what I'm trying to say. From December-ish last year. She's never contacted me, and I've never contacted her. But this one simple text, disguised behind care and concern, I knew immediately what the woman who birthed me was trying to do. So I shared the tactics with my child. I said, she's not blocked on my WhatsApp. If she had just looked, she will see. She's trying to play the victim to my child, as well as smear campaign against me. What she's really saying is, I'm so worried about my child who cut contact with me for no good reason. I'm so hurt and confused as to why my child would do that. I love her so much, and I'm so worried about her, but she won't let me reach out or speak to her. The other thing, she's trying to turn my child against me and get my child to feel sorry for her and take her side. I say this because it's a well-known fact that a narcissist is incapable of love, concern, or being worried. So usually when a narcissist asks questions, they aren't worried or concerned. They're just fishing for information. Their well of info has run dry, so they need to get some more. I told my child if he wanted to, he could reply and tell her she's not blocked on my WhatsApp, she could contact me directly, but he'd already replied, so I left it at that. I thought about texting her to confront her, but that's probably also something she wanted, so I didn't do it. I thought, well, I'm not going to play into her hands, give her what she wants. And, so I left it. He'd already messaged her back, and I just left it. Not long after that, my child came and showed me another text from the woman who birthed me. The message read, "Please don't tell your mom about my messages." My first thought was, why not? Why is there a need to keep this a secret? That was my first. With that one message, asking to keep it secret, she confirmed my previous suspicions and what she was trying to do with my child. In the message asking my child to keep it secret, she was actually saying, if your mom finds about this, she's going to flip off the deep end and have a go at me for being worried about her. She was attempting to paint me in a negative way to my child and attempt again to turn my child against me. If there was no malicious intent, she wouldn't have asked my kid to keep it a secret, right? But now, I can't just sit back and do nothing, right? I mean, this is a huge red flag. I knew she'd use the situation to tell everyone I'm so awful and she's so worried and I'm maliciously attacking her, for asking my child how I'm doing, but I didn't care. She'd messed with my child. She crossed the line. I was furious. Not by her underhanded tactics, but that she'd used and involved my child for her benefit. I'd also learned that decisions made and matters handled with emotions involved is never a good idea. So I put my emotions on hold, I put my thinking cap on, and I thought about this logically. What were her tactics that she was using? She was trying to smear campaign me against my child, or to my child. She was trying to play the victim to my child and turn my child against me. She was also asking my child to keep secrets from me. She was involving my child in matters between her and myself in a non-educational way, but in a personal way, using my child as like her soundboard, like a therapist to her, but not quite to that degree. She was baiting me so that she could have something to complain to everyone about me. Knowing all this, I sent her the following message. Hello, I genuinely hope you are well. I was not going to give you what you wanted, but you went too far, and now here we are. 1. You are not and not have been blocked on my WhatsApp for quite a while now. I do not appreciate you going through my child to fish for information about me. If you want to know how I'm doing, please contact me directly. Stop using my child for this. Quick, simple, easy boundary. 2. If you've run out of people to smear my name to, that's your problem. I will not allow you to use my child for your benefit in this regard. Just setting another boundary. 3. I will not allow you to drag my child into matters between you and me. Even I do not influence who they decide to communicate with, and you know this. Because I have told her before, I don't influence who my children communicate with. Just reaffirming an existing boundary. 4. You know the open relationship I have with my children, and yet you still ask them to keep secrets from me and in general. I have taught my children that anyone who asks them to keep secrets are not safe people or people they should trust. Safe adults do not ask children to keep secrets. It's true. If an adult asks a child to keep a secret, huge red flag. Huge. It doesn't matter what the secret is. It could be like giving them money and saying, don't tell your mom. Why? Why not tell the mom or the parent? Why? It's a red flag. It is a red flag. 5. I have never yet had to forcibly remove or prevent my children from communicating with someone. The choice has always been theirs. You know this. However, if you carry on with this nonsense, you will be the first family member I forcibly prevent my children from communicating with. Again, just putting out another boundary. She replied, I'm sorry, I was only concerned. I'll leave you alone as you wish. Leave me alone? Did I write that she had to leave me alone? I don't recall. So I sent back, because at this point old habits just kicked in, and so I sent back. I see you still have that wonderful gift of twisting the truth. She replied, you are the one who twists the truth. I'm giving you what you wanted, so don't keep going on about it. Now she's trying to be the parent and have, you're my kid, I have authority over you. But she's going about it in the wrong way. It was just, it's comical. At that point, after I'd sent the message about, I see you still have that wonderful gift, I was like, damn it, why, shit, fuck, why did you do that? Anyway, so I decided that, okay, I'm not engaging in, I'm not going to give her what she wants. I'm not going to engage in a back and forth. She can believe what she wants. I don't care. After realizing my mistake and rectifying it, I wasn't going to do it anymore. So I left the whole thing at that. I just thought, I'm not going to be bothered. I'm not going to give her the drama fix that she desperately wants. I'm not going to give her what she wants and try and correct myself in her eyes, because that's what she wants me to do so that she can drag this out for as long as possible. So I just thought, you know what, believe what you want. You want to think I'm the one twisting the truth, think it. I can't care. I did realize though that her replies to my messages, my messages were to establish or re-establish boundaries. Her replies were definitely not from a loving mother who's worried and concerned for her child. Rather, she's likely got pissed off that I'd spotted the tactics she was trying to use with my child and stepped in on my child's behalf to put an end to her bullshit and re-establish boundaries even for my child, which a parent should do, So, But then her last 2 messages, surprisingly how short they were actually. I expected longer, but these 2 packed a punch, kinda. Her last 2 messages contained anger, hatred, and contempt. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how it came across, And besides, I dared to call out a narcissist on something she definitely did wrong, and she didn't like it very much. Simple. After that, the woman who birthed me never did contact me again. I did have to contact her in early March, because I decided, for the purpose of my videos, it's best for me to sort out my timeline. Because of my memory, that's a bit, I mentioned before I've got this memory block, but it's not, I don't even know how to describe it. It's basically, I can remember the event that happened, but I can't remember when it happened or for how long. Most things I can remember how long, but in between the how long is what I'm referring to. So I figured I'd contact her and just try and get some, rough dates, maybe years to help in my timeline so that going forward, if I speak about events, I can match them up with the timeline. Um, it was weird though, because I'd ask her, for example, like, when did I start school? Because I remember very clearly, she'd brag about it with her friends that in the country I grew up in, school age began in the year that the child turned 7. And I remember I was 5 when I started school, so 5 turning 6 when I started school, because I did a summer of the test or something. And the school said I was okay, I was intelligent enough, and I would cope in the first year. So they started me in the year I was turning 6, not in the year I should have turned 7. So I started school a whole year earlier. So I wanted to check if A, is that accurate information according to my memory, and B, with my age, roughly what kind of, what year would that have been? Um, she answered with, if I remember correctly, your sister was X years old when, I didn't think of it at first because it was her first response. But then I asked her, like, because we left public school in what I remember to be my last year of standard 4. Basically, I had a year left of primary school, and that final year we did in private school. So I never completed that year in public school, because that final year that I should have done in public school, we moved to the private school. So I asked her about that. And again, she came with, your sister was so many years old when this took place, when you started at the private school. And then I thought, why are all her memories based on my sister's age? And then I was like, what am I even saying? Of course they are. Of course they are. My sister's the golden child. Of course she's the focal point for the memory base that, the woman who birthed me remembers everything. At the time, it stung a little bit, but, it is what it is. Anyway, during the time it took me to figure out the timeline, get all my memories matched up with the timeline, she asked me, like, when is our Mother's Day here, because it's different from there. So I told her, and timeline was sorted. I didn't contact her again. And then that Sunday she sent me a message, Happy Mother's Day. And I read the message and I thought, okay, this is again one of those, like, where I often find myself, do I respond or do I not respond? If I don't, if I thought about this was the thought process I went on. If I don't respond, she's going to keep dropping little messages here and there, thinking she's got a way back into my life. If I do respond, she's going to turn that somehow into a negative thing and, blow it up into something it doesn't need to be, because of who she is and because of her nature. So I thought, what, fuck it. I need to make sure that this door remains firmly shut. So I say to her, I just said, thank you for your message. I said, thank you for your message. But me asking you for help and, with sorting out my timeline was not opening the door for communication between us again. If my asking for your help in future for things like this gives you that impression, then that's something I need to take into consideration when asking you for help. But it was not an invitation or an opening of the door, because that's not what I want for my life. Because it's not. She sent back a message saying, I didn't think it was an open invitation. I just wanted to wish you happy Mother's Day. Now, I was like, well, that's cool, but like, I didn't even get a happy Christmas from you. See what I'm saying? Why now, Mother's Day, when she couldn't be bothered about Christmas? That's the whole, just quickly gonna mention, I don't have notes of this on this, but I remember what happened. Around the same time, my ex was contacting my oldest to try and get the documents needed to get my oldest his passport. And I don't know how people's brains work sometimes. It boggles my brain how people think. My oldest has to come to me and say, Mom, Dad's asking for this and that and that and that document. Where is it? Can I give it to him? You need to give it to me so I can give it to him. Kind of. So I just messaged him and I said, look, my child is saying you need this and this and this document. Why are you going through him? You can just ask me directly. Because at the end of the day, he should be asking me directly. He shouldn't be going through my child. Regardless of whether my child is of age to be adult, in the dynamic, he's still the child of the parents. So my ex shouldn't be using or going through the child, He should be coming to me directly. Anyway, I just said, look, contact me directly, ask me directly for the documents, and I'll find them, and next time he goes to visit you, I'll send them with him. God, my ex replies with, I don't know why you have such a big issue with me trying to get him his passport. And again, I literally went and read through my message. I was like, I didn't say I had an issue with you getting him his passport. I mean, where in the message? So this is where the part of me that's learned how to communicate going forward with narcissists kicked in, and I sent him a plain, simple message saying, I didn't say I had an issue with it. I just said go directly through me. But since we can't deal with this in an adult, mature way, let me know when you're mature enough to have an adult conversation and we can discuss what is needed for you to get him his passport. It was around about the same time as this thing with the woman who birthed me and my oldest child. So since then, up until now, he hasn't mentioned the passport at all. And it's like, well, I didn't say anything wrong. I just said talk directly to me. He wanted to read it in that I have an issue. I said I don't have an issue. And I invited him to talk to me when he's mature enough. I can only now read it, or the situation, that he's not yet mature enough. I mean, he's not giving me much to work with, Anyway, I can laugh about it because it's funny. In my next episode, that's going to be the beginning of the journey of when I meet narcissist number 2 and narcissist number 3. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Just this quick funny story of how the narcissistic woman who birthed me is now trying to move her tactics onto my child. And yeah, it's hilariously funny. I'm not laughing currently, but in my brain it's like watching clowns perform, really. Anyway, thank you for joining in on this episode. I hope you all take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.